Top Secret Sci-Operative Training Mission. Reading Passage. Classifying Matter. Mission. Understand that everything is made up of tiny particles of matter that can combine in many different ways to create different classifications of matter. Tips. Remember to beam as you read through the passage below.
Hey, Nicole. Before we head out on our next mission, we need to upgrade our armor in the lab.
I know. I've been staring at this periodic table, and I'm going a bit cross-eyed. There are so many different elements, and each one has different properties. It's hard to know which element is the best choice for our armor.
The periodic table should be able to help us since it organizes all of the known elements in the universe by characteristics.
Right. The periodic table arranges the elements by increasing atomic number. This classifies the elements by similarities in chemical properties. Each box on the table represents a different element, and different colors represent different categories.
The image titled The Periodic Table of Elements depicts the 10 families or groups color-coded.
I remember an element is a pure substance made of only one type of atom, and an atom is the smallest particle or unit of matter that maintains the chemical properties of that element, right?
Exactly. There are only 118 types of atoms that make up all matter, and matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. There are things that are not matter, however, like energy and force.
Got it. Everything we can touch is made of elements and is matter.
Some of our armor is actually made of another classification of matter called compounds. A compound is when the atoms of different elements chemically combine. This results in completely different and sometimes opposite physical and chemical properties from the elements that make them up.
Water is a compound, right? And you can write it as H2O.
Yes, that means there are 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom in 1 molecule of water. The properties of water are very different from the elements that make it. Water is a liquid compound that puts out fires, while the elements that make it up, hydrogen and oxygen, are both gases and highly flammable.
The image shown depicts a chemical reaction showing 2 hydrogen diatoms plus a single oxygen diatom will yield 2 water molecules. A diatom is 2 atoms of the same element bonded together naturally.
Those are pretty big differences. Let me see if I have this right. Matter can be made of elements and compounds have different properties from the elements that make them up.
Right. Both elements and compounds make up the classification of matter called pure substances. A pure substance, like pure water, consists of only one type of element or compound. There is a second category of matter called mixtures. Mixtures are composed of 2 or more elements and/or compounds that are not chemically bonded together. Air is a great example of a mixture.
The diagram titled Composition of Air shows a representation of the composition of air with 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and other elements at around 1%.
So let me guess. Mixtures do retain the properties of the pure substances that make them up, because they are not chemically bonded to each other.
Now you are getting it. There are 2 types of mixtures, homogeneous and heterogeneous. A homogeneous mixture is uniform or evenly mixed throughout and may appear to be a compound if you are not looking at it through a microscope.
Kind of like the bronze alloy, which is in one of the new armor prototypes Mr. Pauling has been developing. Bronze is a homogeneous mixture of the elements copper and tin. All alloys, like bronze, are homogeneous mixtures, and they retain the properties of both metals.
The image shows armor with a particle diagram of the alloy bronze showing both copper and tin atoms.
Exactly. In comparison, a heterogeneous mixture is not uniform in composition and may even appear visually different. An example of a heterogeneous mixture is a sample of purple slime collected from soil. It appears visually different and has more than one phase. A phase is a part of a sample with uniform composition and consistent properties. Some heterogeneous mixtures even contain different states of matter.
Wait, what do you mean, different states of matter?
A state of matter is a description of the amount of movement in the atoms. Pure substances, both elements and compounds, as well as heterogeneous and homogeneous mixtures, can be found in all states of matter. It is simply determined by how much energy there is. An easy example of this is water. Liquid water can freeze and become solid, or if heat is added, it can evaporate and become water vapor. In all states, it is still molecularly considered the pure substance water.
The image entitled States of Matter shows the 4 states of matter and each state's particle spacing and movement as energy is added, moving from solid to liquid to gas to plasma. Solids are represented as a rigidly structured pattern. Liquids are more loosely structured with greater atomic movement, and gas is even more spread out with greater movement. Plasma is represented as a gas that has an electrical charge.
I get it. Everything around us that has mass and takes up space is matter. Matter can be made of elements, which can be combined in lots of different ways to make compounds. And if elements or compounds are not bonded, then they make a mixture like air. All categories of matter can exist in different states depending on their energy. Did I miss anything?
Nope, that pretty much sums it all up.
Okay, I'm going back to the lab. I think I know what I'm going to choose for my armor.
Make connections. In each box below, write a connection between the text that you just read and either your prior knowledge or something in your life. Reading comprehension questions. Classifying matter. 1. Matter is anything that has which 2 properties? 2. Label the following categories of matter based on the particle diagram seen below. 1. Compound. 2. Element. 3. Heterogeneous mixture. 4. Homogeneous mixture. 4 choices are represented in question 2. The first choice is a particle diagram of single blue circles spread apart with no clear pattern or structure. The second diagram has randomly spaced blue atoms with 2 smaller red atoms touching each. The third image is a random arrangement of single blue atoms and smaller green diatoms. The fourth image shows randomly spaced yellow atoms with 2 red atoms touching them above a clearly structured pattern of red atoms in close proximity to each other. 3. On the diagram of Nikole's laser emitter, identify which of the labeled parts are made of matter and which are not made of matter. The image in question 3 shows the laser equipment with 4 areas highlighted, asking if each is matter or not. Highlighted are the electricity from the battery, the helium gas in the gas chamber, the handle, and the laser blast. 4. For each pair of items, identify based on their composition if they have the same physical and chemical properties by writing S, or different properties by writing D. A. Aluminum foil and aluminum soda can. B. An iron British penny and a copper US penny. C. Nitrogen gas in the air and condensed liquid nitrogen. D. A steel railroad track and a steel ball bearing. E. A helium-filled balloon and an argon-filled balloon. 5. Label each image as solid, liquid, gas, plasma, and then rank each of the following from least, 1, particle movement, to greatest, 4. The image represents the 4 states of matter with particle diagrams underneath. The student will complete the phase and energy level. The first image is a gold brick. The corresponding particle diagram is a structured pattern. The second image is a plasma ball, and the particle diagram depicts charged particles that are randomly spread out. The third image is the sky with clouds. The particle diagram is randomly spaced atoms. The fourth image is a beaker of a liquid. The particle diagram depicts less structure and fluid movement. Level up. 1. Sort the following objects into the correct categories. 1. Compound. 2. Heterogeneous mixture. 3. Not matter. 4. Element. 5. Homogeneous mixture. There are 5 images represented that need to be matched to the classification of matter. The first image is a piece of armor labeled with the symbol capital C, lowercase u. The second image is an atom labeled capital C, with 2 smaller atoms labeled capital O attached to it. The third image is steel beams. The fourth image is a pile of dirt with grass and a shovel in it. The fifth image depicts fire.